Well, as you well know, the left, liberals, progressives have done pretty much everything they possibly can to advance gun control in this nation, but it seems like their other policies are doing much more to hurt the gun control cause. Not really. But it kept coming up yesterday during the arguments in front of the Supreme Court, right? And I was wondering why that was, but Sotomayor kept going to the Second Amendment, for example. I'm thinking that was an odd argument for her to make. We're going to talk about how gun control has made cities less safe and feel less safe than ever. And to do that, Dr. John Lott is here from the Crime Prevention Research Center. Doctor, good to have you here. Thank you for joining us. And in the break, we were talking a bit about all the conversations going on about abortion, and Sotomayor bringing in the argument about the Second Amendment, which I thought was an odd thing to do. But I want you to mention a couple of things you said during the break about how this is hurting children. Abortion in general is hurting people. Just tell me what you were saying.
Right. Well, just first of all, on Sotomayor's thing, I think Second Amendment was mentioned many times yesterday because they just had this case that was heard before the Supreme Court that you and I have talked about before on November 3rd, dealing with New York's concealed carry laws. And so the references to the Second Amendment there were just shots fired across each other's bows about that case, which to a lot of people like Sotomayor are just as upsetting as the abortion case was yesterday. But
right,
I've done a lot of research on abortion, and yesterday many times the lawyers who were against the Mississippi law and Sotomayor were talking about all the benefits to society from abortion. I don't think they have that right. One of the things that happened when they liberalized rules, first of all, abortion was never banned any place in the United States. They had health or life issues that were involved in many places, even some surprising places like Kansas, were incredibly liberal in terms of determining what it meant to say a woman's health was somehow being hurt by abortion. It would be their mental health, for example. But in any case, they did liberalize the rules, and it did have a big impact on the number of abortions. Between 72 and 79, the abortion rate in the United States more than doubled. But what happened during the 70s were a lot of huge changes. We saw a big increase in abortions, but you also saw a huge increase in out-of-wedlock births. You saw a big increase in single-parent families. And I think all those were due to, in large part, due to the changing abortion rules. Because, you look at these and say, well, how can you have an increase in abortions at the same time you have a big increase in out-of-wedlock births? Shouldn't those be going in opposite directions? Well, when they liberalized the abortion rules, you had a lot more premarital sex. And imagine you have two types of women. You have those who are willing to have an abortion and those who won't. Well, the women who are happy to have an abortion started having a lot more premarital sex because if they did get pregnant, they could always go and get an abortion to deal with it.
Safety net, if you will. It was a backdrop or a backstop. Go ahead.
Okay. But that put pressure on the other women who were not willing to have an abortion to also have premarital sex. Because, guys...
So your argument then is that the ruling in general created a lot more promiscuity. People were more open. The sexual revolution continued and expanded because it made it an option to do something different.
Right, exactly. But the thing is, it caused a lot of women who weren't willing to have an abortion also to have premarital sex, just because of the pressure that the guys say, well, I'll go out with somebody else. And when they got pregnant, they carried it to term because they weren't willing to have an abortion. So you had more out-of-wedlock births.
And so there was, and that's something nobody ever talks about, Doctor. And that's why I love the fact that you dig into all these statistics. Now, I do want to touch base on one topic real quickly. I don't have a lot of time because of other liberal policies. And you've got the smash and grab robberies. You've got Chicago, Baltimore, Cleveland, all these places with more murders than they've had since, many of them, since 1992, 93, at the height of the violent crime peak in America that's been going down all this time. Now it's back, So people are buying more guns. What was it? 700,000 background checks on Black Friday, the week of Black Friday. More people
Right.
buying guns. Again, liberal policies having the exact opposite effect on what they want. Real quickly on that.
You and I, it's not rocket science. If you have it so prosecutors aren't prosecuting cases, if you have large numbers of violent inmates being released from prisons, if you have police being ordered to stand down or having their budgets being cut, it's not risky for criminals to commit crime, so they go and commit more crime. It's not a difficult thing. I mean, I was just reading yesterday, AOC was claiming that these smash and grab things were just fake news stories, that they weren't really occurring. You know, Democrats, a lot of Democrats just don't understand why you've seen this increase in crime. It's a puzzle to them.
Well, here's what they don't understand, John, and I've got to leave it here, but here's what they don't understand. Everything that sits between New York and Los Angeles, that piece of real estate in the middle that we call America, they have very little understanding of. Where you're sitting today, where I'm sitting today, they really don't get it. I'd love to talk to you more. We should have you back real soon. There's a lot of territory to cover with failing liberal policies. Dr. John Lott, I always appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You can't argue with the fact that these things are not working. Now, coming up after the break, the first case of Omicron detected in the